did I always want to be an attorney at law? I think it's one of those things that was always in the back of my mind, even before I think I realized it and other people saw that in me. But it was also something where I think along the way I had other options that I was considering. And I remember specifically, and I think it is very common for especially Caribbean and Jamaican households, that, you know, it's law or medicine. And I think that medicine was a very big consideration for me at one point, until I think in around third form at my alma mater at Arden High School, that I got one bad grade in biology. And I think that that was what sealed the deal for me, that I was to go into law. And, you know, my parents tell stories from when I was quite young, from around 6 years old, that I would play court with them and say, Mom, you are the advocate here, and Dad, you do this. And then I would pretend as the judge, and I would listen to the arguments and then come to my conclusion and say that this is the decision and this is final. So I think that from quite an early age, the signs were there that I was going to become an attorney at law. And I think that all the years of also doing debating through high school, where I really enjoyed speaking, and also going to different conferences, speaking, you know, in the leadership group and leadership teams for different clubs and associations, that I really thought, okay, I think that this is a skill and something that I want to hone and then make it into a profession. When it comes to Norman Manley Law School and how I think the overall experience and training has actually affected my life, I think that there are many things that actually stand out to me, and the three main things that I would say is, firstly, when it comes to how much workload there is. And I think that anyone who has gone to Norman Manley Law School can honestly say to you that it is a lot of work. So I think that overall managing that workload and everything that came with it and being at the law school was very, very, very good training for me for my career now. Secondly, I would say is the teamwork. And overall, you would not succeed at Norman Manley if you did not learn to work well in a team. You already had group assignments, you had mock trials where you had to work in a team, you had so many different things in your tutorial group and exercises that you had to ensure that if you wanted to have a good grade, if you wanted to pass even, that you would have to be able to successfully work in a team. And I think that that was a good experience for me. Third thing I would say is overall confidence, I think, in the training that we get. And I think that without a doubt, the training that we get at the Norman Manley Law School is one of the best trainings that you can get in the world. And I say this now, having the exposure to studying at Oxford, now being exposed to working in different jurisdictions in the Caribbean and also beyond that as well in Europe, that the training that we get here is just, it is on a high level, and it means that we can now compete and we have the confidence to actually participate in the same things as anyone coming from any school all around the world. And I think that one big example of that was when I was mooting and when I went for the Philip C. Jessup competition in DC, and once they spoke to you and they asked you which school, or you asked you which country you came from, and they said Jamaica Norman Manley Law School, okay, and the respect was there. That gave me the confidence from that training to do well when I mooted on behalf of Oxford when I went to the UK, and as the only black person selected on behalf of the whole school, I felt that pressure, but the confidence that I had from before allowed me to perform in such a great way. And in the end, I was chosen as the best speaker in Europe, coming from Oxford as well. So I think that overall, the confidence that we get in the fact that our training is at a high level is so good. When I was at the law school, I definitely made use of every opportunity that was before me. And one of those was the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court internship. And that was in St. Lucia at the time. And it was so enjoyable for me, one, in terms of the exposure I got beyond Jamaica as well, to see us in terms of Caribbean integration. And I think that that was important for me in terms of even going to one of my first jobs, which was as a judicial assistant at the CCJ, that kind of linkage and seeing the experience with building jurisprudence in the Caribbean, not just Jamaica, but wider, and seeing how that can affect us all as we build one Caribbean, it was very important to me. And I think those skills also made me better as an advocate, just the drafting, the research, how I went about those kind of things that we were trained to do in Norman Manley and then apply them in that internship. It was an excellent experience. How it has impacted me personally in so many ways. I think firstly, the mentorship that I've gotten, and I always try not to call too many names because I know that I don't want to miss anyone. But the specific person that I definitely would want to say is Senior Tutor Emerita Dorcas White. She taught me a lot about purpose in life and how things come together for good, especially for those of us who love God. And that overall for me personally helped as a part of my experience, not just within the actual career of law, but also overall how I looked at life and how I could succeed even outside of the classroom and how I applied that to different aspects of my life. I think also when it comes to service, I had the opportunity to serve as the chairman of the Men at Work initiative, was where we were able to just mentor young men and show them strong male role models, which I think was very important. And that has always been a very important aspect for me personally now, that in all aspects, wherever I am, I can see that way in which we can also serve beyond just looking at it as a profession, but how can we help people in the community? How are people affected by what we do? To this day, people that I served with on committees, past presidents who kind of helped me while I was president, or other executive members, past mutas who also helped train us as well. We all have a community, and the wider legal community, I think that coming from the Norma Manley Law School was excellent.